Do you know that strange feeling you have when, after taking a break, you actually feel even more tired than before taking that break? Today I'll explain you why, and I'm also going to tell you some ways to just fix this. But before I tell you, right now you have a choice in front of you. Either you notice that I have no fancy editing, no graphics, it's just me and the whiteboard, and like 95% of people, you just click off the video because you are already bored. Or you do like the other 5% and you stay till the end. Because actually what we're going to discuss today is boredom. And I'm going to be boring in discussing boredom. Why? Because those who can tolerate boredom are actually the people who win in life. You can notice this everywhere. So your problem is not that you take breaks, it's in how you take breaks. You see, in a hyperstimulated society, those who need less stimulation win in literally every domain. The thing is, the way you think about your breaks is this. So you have to do tasks that you see like boring, and this might be studying, this might be working, this can be literally anything, even training. So you think to your work, which is this tiny part, as a boring activity. And you think to your breaks like activities that should stimulate you so that you recharge for doing the boring work again. But this is literally the opposite of what you should do. A break should be less stimulating than the task you're actually doing. And later I'm gonna tell you why. But let me first explain to you what are these graphics. These graphics are just about time passing and dopamine levels. You might have heard about dopamine, and dopamine is usually involved, in things like addiction, etc. But dopamine is also essential for focusing on stuff, for having the energy, the drive to pursue things. So if your breaks are more stimulating than the work you do, what do you think will happen? Your work will become so boring that you will actually crave the break and not the work. But what we want to do is to crave the work, not the break. The break should be just an instrument to make sure that we crave the work. And how do you crave the work? This way, you just think to your work like the dopamine spike. So the dopamine spike you need to have is when you're actually doing the thing. And the break should be the less stimulating possible. Why? Because then you will crave the work. Your dopamine levels will just go down, which will make sure that you recharge before actually continuing to do what you have to do, which is your work, your studying, etc. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do hyperstimulating activities in general in your life. I'm just saying don't do them in your breaks, because the goal of breaks is to recharge in order for you to actually crave your actual work. So what do your breaks look like? Because if your breaks are scrolling or consuming, or in general anything that is more stimulating than the work you are doing, you're not actually taking a break. You are actually entertaining yourself. So now I'm going to tell you 4 reasons for why you should consider taking boring breaks. And then in the last part of the video, I'm going to tell you how to actually take a boring break so that you can actually recover from your breaks. So the first reason is, after you have absorbed information, your mind needs space to reorganize the knowledge it has absorbed. So let's say you're studying. Most people try to study for even hours and they seem pretty focused, but then the first break comes and what do? They start scrolling for half an hour and then they have to come back to their studying. But what it usually happens is, even for the most focused people out there, they just don't want to come back to studying. Why? Because their break is more stimulating than the activity itself. So you can crave the actual work you were doing. And this is the first thing. Your mind needs space and emptiness in your days to just reorganize itself. Second reason is, as we said earlier, breaks are not for entertainment, breaks are recovery. And recovery just means recovery for your nervous system. And the way you recover your nervous system is by creating space and boredom. The third reason is, like we were saying before, if the break is more stimulating than the work itself, you will crave breaks and not work. So why do you work? Why do you study? Because you have to or you like it, I don't know, but your goal is to actually do this. Your goal is not to take breaks, because breaks are for recovery. Breaks exist just because work exists. And then entertainment is a whole different game. What is more stimulating? What is funnier? Scrolling or studying? We all know that scrolling is a lot more stimulating, a lot funnier. The problem is, if you scroll in your breaks, you will crave scrolling and not studying or working. That's the problem. And the last reason is a bit more scientific, and it is that when we are not actually doing anything special, there's a particular network that gets activated in our brain, and this network is called the default mode network. The network is basically activated whenever we are not actually doing any crazy stuff, and it's when our mind is free to wander, to daydream. When you're daydreaming, you are probably using your default mode network. And the thing is, the default mode network is the moment when our brain has actually the possibility to just reorganize itself. And if you don't give yourself the time to do so, you will be overwhelmed. You need space, you need emptiness. So now I'm going to tell you how to actually do a boring break. First of all, you realize the difference between a break and entertainment. The difference we were talking about before. So a break has to be less stimulating and more boring than your work. And entertainment should be as stimulating as you like, because it doesn't matter right here, because you have finished doing what you had to do. So a boring break can be any of these activities. For example, walking. Walking is the perfect boring break, because you are doing something, but it's also an activity that just lets your mind wander freely. But it's not actually very stimulating. You're just moving your body, and you're also doing a healthy habit in itself. But by doing so, you're also creating space. Whether you're studying or working, taking walks between your working sessions is so good, so valuable. When you try this, you just can't come back, because it's the perfect break. But you can do also these other things. For example, a quick workout. You might not do a full workout, but for example, doing some push-ups, doing some stuff like that. It will just keep you in movement without being hyperstimulating like scrolling. Or you can also have some time in nature, and this will overall just calm your mind, which is something you actually need. It's not actually boring. None of these activities are actually boring. I just call them boring because they are not stimulating. This is what I mean with boring. And then we have these two ones, which might be a little bit tricky because they actually are stimulating, but they are still better than scrolling, for example. Social time and music. So you can do both. The thing is, you just gotta be able to not to make them too stimulating. For example, your social time should not be more stimulating than the work. And what does it mean? It just means when you're talking to your friends, maybe try to not talk about crazy stuff that just activates you in crazy ways. And you know what I mean. And for music too. For example, you can listen to very relaxing music, and this will help you actually, because it will not be hyperstimulating. Or you can listen to music with very stimulating lyrics, and this will just become too stimulating to be a break. So you just gotta learn how to feel this by yourself when you're actually doing something that is too much stimulating to be a break. And the last one in the list is actually very underrated, is stuff like gardening. And this is just an example for another area of activities that they keep you engaged, but they are not very stimulating. They're just very calm activities. So guys, this was just a couple of ideas on how to do a boring break. But here's the take-home message. Whenever you do something either hard or beautiful and stimulating, take some time after doing so to just decompress. pause for a second. Just welcome boredom in your life. And I guarantee you that not only your productivity will skyrocket, but also your mood will become more stable. Because you can actually be fulfilled and happy only when you have the space to just experience these feelings. The paradox is, the more stimuli you need, the less happy you will actually be. The happiest people out there are actually the people who need less stimuli than others. Thank you for watching, and if you are interested in what I do, you can subscribe to the channel because it just helps. I'm a small channel, so it helps so much. And if you want more, you can check out my X or my newsletter. Both the links are down below. And if you just want me to help you to do all of these, to just integrate this concept of boring breaks in your own life, I have a one-on-one coaching program where I just help people go from distracted but ambitious to flow state masters who can stay focused for hours on what actually matters to them. If you're interested in that, just comment down below the word flow, or you can DM me on X and I'll send you more information. Thank you for watching, and as usual, I'll see you in the next one.